Sure. Here's section 1 of your story script, written in the first person, direct, emotionally charged, and tightly focused, with 760 words as requested. It was all in my mouth, the lies, the laughter, the late-night stories whispered between bites of dinner. I swallowed every word, every gesture, every promise, believing love tasted like this, warm, seasoned, slow-cooked trust. I met Jordan at a coffee shop downtown. They ordered the same obscure drink I did, and it started as a joke, two weirdos with cinnamon oat lattes and too many books in their bags. It didn't take long. Conversations turned into late-night calls. Late-night calls into early morning texts. Then one morning, they made me breakfast, and that was it. Love crept in between scrambled eggs and strawberry jam. The way they looked at me when I chewed, when I smiled mid-bite, it made me feel consumed, needed. We moved in together 8 months after dating. The first thing we did was stock the kitchen. Spices, oils, pans, and late-night snack rituals. Food was always our love language. Jordan cooked on Tuesdays. I handled Sundays. We made a rule to always eat together. No screens, no distractions. It was sacred. Jordan was soft-spoken but intense. They had this habit of watching me while I ate, like I was the only thing worth looking at. When I'd catch them, they'd smirk and say, "I like seeing you satisfied." I used to blush every time. That kind of attention, it makes you forget to doubt anything. Things were almost perfect. I say almost because, looking back, there were things I ignored. Like how their phone never lit up when we were together anymore. Or how they changed their lock screen from our picture to a mountain landscape out of nowhere. Just like the colors better, they'd said. I believed them. I always believed them. There was this woman from Jordan's work, Cassie. Her name came up often in little stories, something funny she said, the way she organized files like a lunatic, how she always brought pastries no one liked. I asked once, "She single?" Jordan just shrugged and said, "Probably. But she's not my type." I didn't ask again. Jordan started working later. Meetings ran long. Weekends blurred into deadlines. I cooked dinner, ate alone, packed up leftovers, and cleaned without complaining. I told myself love was making space, being patient, trusting even when it's inconvenient. I told myself I was being mature. Supportive. A good partner. The week of Jordan's birthday, I planned everything. Ordered their favorite wine. Cooked the first meal we ever had together, spiced lamb with saffron rice, cinnamon roasted carrots. I wore the shirt they loved, lit the candles they said made the place smell like home. They came home an hour late, their shirt was wrinkled, lips tight like they'd been chewing something that wasn't mine. I kissed them on the cheek, and they stiffened before returning it. That should have been enough for me to know, but I served dinner anyway. Sat across from them and smiled like everything was fine. They picked at the rice, said they weren't that hungry. Said the meeting ran long. I nodded, pretending not to smell perfume that wasn't mine lingering on their collar. For dessert, I made cardamom cookies from scratch. Jordan took one, stared at it for a second, then ate it without saying anything. That was new. Usually, they'd make a show of moaning, joking, calling me a witch for making it impossible not to love you. Not this time. That night, they fell asleep before me. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. How their kisses had turned shorter. How the text got drier. How the food I made went untouched. I told myself work was just hard. That everyone goes through slumps. But deep down, something sharp was pressing against my gut, and I swallowed it like every other uneasy feeling I'd had for weeks. The next morning, Jordan was up early, already dressed. Meeting, they said, while buttoning a shirt I hadn't seen in months. I watched them leave with a travel mug and a smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. I spent the rest of that day pretending nothing was wrong. I cleaned the kitchen until it shined, even though it was already spotless. I cooked enough dinner for two, again. And when they didn't show up until almost midnight, claiming something about Cassie needing help formatting a file, I kissed them anyway. Their mouth tasted sweet, but it wasn't my cooking, and still, I swallowed the lie. Here is section 2 of your story script, written in first person, precise and emotionally sharp, with a word count of 760 words as requested. The first message popped up when Jordan left their phone on the kitchen counter, screen face up. It was instinct. I wasn't snooping. but the preview lit up and my name wasn't on it. Cassie, still tastes like you winking face. My stomach turned before I even unlocked it. I told myself maybe it was an inside joke, some stupid office humor I wouldn't understand. But my thumb moved without hesitation, and the thread opened like a wound. Messages stacked like rotten fruit. Pictures. A video. A blurry shot of our bedroom mirror, Jordan's shirt off. Cassie smiling in the reflection. My favorite blanket on the edge of the bed. I couldn't breathe. Every word read like poison disguised as sugar. Last night was perfect. I miss the way you bite. Next time, no rush, I want dessert. And always, delete this. I dropped the phone. It clattered against the tile. I stood there, frozen. My heart wasn't beating fast, it was slow, deliberate, like it wanted me to feel every squeeze before it broke completely. I stared at the counter. This same space where we used to laugh, where flour would dust our arms when we baked together. Now it felt like a crime scene. I sat down and tried to speak, but nothing came out. My mouth was dry. My tongue felt heavy. The taste of betrayal is metallic, sharp, cold, and unforgettable. I felt it in my throat, like a pill I couldn't swallow, couldn't spit out either. It just sat there. I opened the gallery next. More pictures. Screenshots of hotel reservations. One image of Cassie lying on a hotel bed, wearing Jordan's shirt. The same one they'd worn home on their birthday. The same one I'd buried my face in. The floor beneath me disappeared. I couldn't cry. I wanted to scream, throw the phone, burn the house down, anything, but I just sat there. Motionless. I couldn't even find anger yet. Only disbelief. This wasn't just cheating. This was mockery. When Jordan walked through the door that evening, they greeted me like nothing happened. Same smile, same keys dropped in the bowl, same fake tone. I was standing in the kitchen, holding the phone. I didn't wait. No dramatic build-up. No speech. How long? They looked up. Still holding their bag. Silence, I said. How long? Jordan didn't lie. Maybe they were tired. Maybe they knew the jig was up. About 8 months, they said quietly. 8. While I was packing their lunches. While I was planning their birthday. While I was folding their shirts, cleaning the bathroom, sending them check-in texts. 8 months of eating lies for breakfast. I asked why. They said it started as a mistake. A night of drinks, then a kiss. Then it kept going. They claimed it was physical at first. That Cassie made them feel seen. Alive. That I had stopped paying attention. I laughed. That bitter, broken laugh you can't fake. You think this is about attention? I asked. You let her crawl into my life, wear my things, taste what was mine, and you're telling me it was because I didn't give you enough compliments? They stared at the floor. No apology. Just a half-whispered, I didn't mean for it to go this far. I asked them if they loved her. They didn't answer. I asked if they ever thought about me while they were with her. Still nothing. I said, I can still smell her on you. And you didn't even bother to shower it off. Jordan finally looked up. I didn't know how to stop. I didn't want to hurt you. You didn't want to get caught. They didn't deny it. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there, holding everything they'd thrown at me, every kiss they gave her, every lie they fed me, every secret they swallowed and smiled through. I thought about every meal I cooked while they were out with her. How I'd kept our home warm, our bed made, our life stable. I'd been loyal to a fantasy. I'd swallowed silence, confusion, distance, hoping it was just stress. That it would pass, but it never passed. It grew. It festered. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, Jordan on the couch, and stared at the ceiling again. The same way I did before. But this time, I didn't imagine solutions. I imagined escape. Freedom. Peace. My mouth still felt dry. My lips cracked from clenching them shut. I hadn't cried yet, but I could feel it coming. The kind of cry that doesn't sound human, because I'd swallowed it all, and now it was rotting inside me. Here is section 3 of your story script, first person, emotionally clean and focused, no fluff or repetition, with a word count of 760 words as requested. The silence after betrayal isn't peaceful. It's deafening. It filled the house, pressed against my chest, rang in my ears. Jordan tried to fix it, but you can't fix a wound you created with the same hands that caused it. They apologized without detail, cried without meaning. I watched them perform guilt like a play they hadn't rehearsed well enough. I stopped eating. Food had always been a comfort, but now it tasted like manipulation. Every bite reminded me of the nights I fed them love while they swallowed someone else's attention. My appetite vanished. I lived on water and coffee and the occasional slice of toast I couldn't finish. My body ached, not from hunger, but from the weight of everything I knew and could never unknow. Jordan offered therapy. I declined. It wasn't a communication issue. It wasn't misunderstanding. It was choice. Repeated, conscious, hidden choice. That was something no third party could reverse. They slept on the couch for days, pacing around like a ghost, waiting for forgiveness I wasn't offering. I didn't yell or throw things. I didn't pack their bags. I just stopped being reachable. Leo called me one night. I hadn't told him, but I guess he sensed something. I broke down the moment I heard his voice. No words. Just silence, then sobs. He didn't ask questions. He said, "Come over. I'll pour you something strong." I didn't go that night, but I saved the offer like a lifeline. I eventually told him. Every word. Every detail. His reaction was quiet but final. People always say they made a mistake. No one falls into someone else's bed without stepping over their partner's heart first. That line stuck with me. I didn't ask anyone else for advice. I didn't want to hear opinions or gather sympathy. I didn't want people picking sides. I wasn't looking for rescue. I wanted clarity, and I knew it wouldn't come from outside. So I started talking to someone. Dr. Ellis. She didn't ask me to relive everything in the first session. She just said, "Tell me what stayed with you the most." I told her it was the moment I realized Jordan had eaten the food I made, complimented it, kissed me, then left to be with someone else. That they could lie with a mouth full of my cooking. That was the moment something inside me died. Dr. Ellis said, "You swallowed all of it to survive. Now it's time to spit it out." It took time. Not much time, but deep time. The kind that stretches every minute like a punishment. I went through pictures and deleted most. I didn't keep the ones where Jordan was laughing. I only kept one, the one where I looked happiest. Not because of them. Just because of me. I started cooking again. Slowly. Small meals. Simple things. Not for Jordan. For me. I remembered how food once felt like joy. I wanted that back. It wasn't about forgetting them. It was about reclaiming everything they had contaminated. I told Jordan I wanted to meet. One last dinner. No expectations, no promises. Just closure. I cooked their favorite meal again. Not for them. For me. I needed to prove to myself that I could still do it. Still make something beautiful, even with my hands covered in memory. They arrived unsure, hopeful. I didn't dress up. I didn't smile. I served the food, sat down, and watched them take a bite. They chewed slowly, like the weight of what was happening finally reached their throat. I said, "This is the last thing you'll taste from me." They didn't speak. I stood up. Walked away. Left everything behind. I didn't slam the door. I didn't cry in the hallway. I just walked out. Peace didn't come instantly. But it came. Slowly. Quietly. Like the taste of something warm returning to a mouth that had forgotten sweetness. I started eating again. Sleeping again. Laughing in moments I didn't expect. I remembered who I was before I lived for someone else's approval. Jordan messaged a few times. I didn't respond. Not out of bitterness, but because there was nothing left to say. It was all in my mouth once. The love, the lies, the betrayal. And I swallowed it all. But I didn't let it define me. I digested the truth and let go of everything else. Now, when I cook, I do it for someone I trust completely. Me.